Well, hello everybody out there on the internet, and welcome to Crystalcleareyes YouTube channel. And hi everybody out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Um, I did promise that I would bring you guys a YouTube channel where we could talk about a lot of these issues that have been going on in this last year and stuff that's been going on for a long time in our country and even here throughout the world. Stuff that's going on here in the USA tends to affect the whole world, because there are many people out there in the world who'd like to come here to live or to have a better chance at a better life. And so I'm sure there are a lot of people out there, not just in New York City, here where I live, or not just in New York State, or not even just in the country, but all over the world, who are very much interested in what's going on here in the United States today. And it's absolutely a time to be paying close attention. It's definitely a time to be putting on your thinking caps. I know right now you guys are probably wondering, well, why does she have on an anonymous mask? Well, I'll tell you why I have on an anonymous mask. It's pretty simple. It's because I'm all about sharing ideas. I'm all about, communicating and maybe, people coming together, talking and finding a way to make some sensible ways to solve these issues. But at the same time, I'm just an average person, a mother, I'm a mom. I'm studying business courses and business preparatory to learning how to incorporate myself and open up a 501c3 non for profit, because I have a great idea that I believe could help not only the black community, but also all lower income communities around the country. And, hey, maybe it can become something that can be used worldwide. I don't know. But in any case, the reason why I wear the mask is because, I have a real life to live. I have real work to do. I have children to take care of. I have a real life, just like everybody else out there. And so I wanted my words to become famous. I wanted my words to be something that people think about and, have conversation about. And, but me personally, I don't want to be famous. I have no desire to be famous. I have no desire to seek public office or anything fame related. Um, so that's why I wear the mask. That way we can communicate, but then at the end of the day, I can go on about my real life and I don't have to be troubled or concerned about people trying to run up on me in the street, because they disagree with my viewpoints or my beliefs or the things that I'm talking about. Okay? So, with that in mind, why don't we just, excuse me, thank you. With that in mind, why don't we just jump right on into it? And of course, be aware that I am very much interested in seeing the comments. If people want to comment or they, feel any kind of way about the topics that I'm discussing, please feel free to subscribe, like, share, comment, whatever you want to do. You know, let's try to keep it respectful. I'm going to try to keep it respectful myself. I'm a New Yorker. I know how to be very rude, very brash, very disrespectful. But I'm choosing not to do that because I don't think that's the way to solve problems. That's kind of an extremist viewpoint. And I don't want to be promoting extremist views. I'm really here because I believe there are a lot of people out in the world just like me. People who are watching all this stuff that's going on, here in the United States. And there are a lot of people who have concerns. There are a lot of people who have questions. I myself am a person. I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions for everybody, you know. So let's jump right into it. One of the main things that's going on right now is that there's been a whole lot of riots going on here in the United States, pretty much for the entire year that just passed, 2020, which was a pretty rough year, a bad year for a whole lot of people, almost everybody, you know. And, this particular riot that happened, which is the Capitol riot that just happened recently, was ascribed to Trump supporters. And, it just absolutely did appear that there were a lot of Trump supporters there and they were rioting. That appears to be factual. I certainly cannot disagree with that. Um, However, what's concerning me about the whole thing is the fact that this one riot is being promoted in the news, it's being highlighted everywhere as this is so terrible. Oh my God, this is horrible. Oh my God, everybody clutch your pearls, grab your shirt collar. Oh my good Lord, this is the worst thing ever, you know. And I find it pretty hypocritical. And why do I say that? Well, because riots have been going on here for almost the past year. I don't know, 8, 9 months, 10 months, and all of the same elements that happened with this particular one riot, the Capitol riot, all of those same elements have happened many, many times before in all of these other riots that have been going on. The Black Lives Matter riots, the Antifas rioting, liberals rioting, Democrats rioting, and so on and so forth. This stuff has been going on for a long time. Now, let me be very clear and very honest. There's been rioting and there's been extremist stuff going on both sides of the aisles. Mostly it's been liberals rioting because they were very upset with Trump and his policies. But my thing is this. Now, why, you have to ask yourself. I mean, we all have, a certain amount of, cognitive abilities. We can all think for ourselves. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, why is this one riot being promoted as the crime of the century? Well, I'll tell you why I think it is. It appears as though this riot is being viewed as bad and the other riots were viewed as good because of whom they benefited and whom was in harm's way. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, I'll tell you. The riots that were going on for the last 8 months seem mainly designed to benefit liberal causes. They benefited liberal politicians. Most of those politicians are on one side of the aisle. We know which side that is. I don't even have to say it. We know what is the liberal side of the aisle here in the USA and what's the more conservative side of the aisle here in the USA, whether it's Democrat or Republican. I'm sure you guys know. Okay? So, what struck me about it is the frenzy to call this riot bad, when in the past they've been calling these other riots things like a fiery but peaceful protest. You can Google that. There was a reporter who was doing a story in one of the towns that were being rioted in, and he was standing there with a huge fire burning in the background. And he said, well, this is a fiery but peaceful protest. Really? Is that what we're calling it? So when Americans, average American citizens, are in harm's way and their businesses are being burned, they're being attacked in the streets, all of this, you can Google it up. You don't have to take my word for it. Policemen are being attacked. There were even instances where there was a police precinct, I believe it was in Seattle, I'm not sure, but I believe, you can look it up, in Seattle, where they tried to seal the policemen in the building and then set it on fire and had Molotov cocktails and all kind of things. So all of this extreme rioting has been going on. I know what happened here in New York personally, right up by Fordham Road where I shop. That's one of the places where I shop. And they came through and tore it up. And a friend of mine tried to tell me that the rioters on Fordham Road were white supremacists. Anybody who knows New York, and anybody who knows the Bronx, and anybody who knows Fordham Road knows that you will never find white supremacists up there. Why? Because they're scared to come up there. Where I live, this is the area where the female police officer was shot in the head while she was sitting in a police vehicle doing paperwork on a street that I walk on very regularly, 183rd Street, right off the Grand Concourse. You can look that up. That happened about a year or two ago on the 4th of July. So no white supremacists come up here. You can be sure of that. Even the cops are sometimes afraid to come up here. So, my whole thing is these riots have been going on for months and months and months. So why, again, is this one riot considered a problem when the rest of the riots, you have plenty of Democrat politicians who went on record supporting these riots? You can look that up. Some of them are Maxine Waters, the lady who's currently the vice president. There were quite a few who were very supportive of these riots. There were plenty of prominent people who were putting up money to bail rioters out so that they could get right back on the streets and do it again. And they were being let go without bail, and they were being given a slap on the wrist so they can go out and do it again and again and again and again. There's a guy who's on my timeline really far back. He was arrested 7 or 8 times for rioting. Can you imagine how depressing and debilitating that must be, for example, to someone who's out there risking their lives trying to stop these riots, and then you see the person that you arrested back on the street 7, 8 times? Like, it's ridiculous. So all of that was allowed, all of that was fine, all of that was okay. All of these businesses were burned, that was okay. People were attacked, that was okay. People were hurt, that was okay. But the only time it became a problem is when the lawmakers, some of them who we know are lawbreakers, okay, when they were in harm's way at the Capitol riot. Then it became a problem. So as long as it's just average citizens like you or me or your kid or my kid in harm's way, then it's okay. Then it's a fiery but peaceful protest. But now if the lawmakers, if they are in harm's way, oh my goodness, that's the crime of the century. Did you notice that all of these governors and prominent politicians refused the National Guard's help with the riots that were going on for 8 or 9 months? Why? Because they were okay with them. They were perfectly fine with those riots. Those riots served the purpose that they were okay with, which was to terrorize average Americans into voting the way they wanted us to vote. And this particular riot, the Capitol riot, this wasn't okay. You know why? Because they were in harm's way. And you know how you know that's true? Because they called out the National Guard immediately. How many? 14, 20, 25,000 National Guard. To protect them, not us. We're not important enough to be protected from riots. Only they are, apparently. Because I don't recall any one governor ever accepting any help or asking for the National Guard with any of the rioting that was going on for the last year. Do you? Because if you do, well, please correct me. And so you need to ask yourself questions, because what's going on here and what we're going to be talking about in the future YouTube videos is that this is a plan that's going on. This is a plan. And, we are considered the pawns in this plan. Average people. Whether you're here in the U.S., whether you're in another country, these average citizens, we're considered pawns. We're not important. We're disposable. We're collateral damage. And you can see that to be a fact because if you go back and Google, you'll look and you'll see everything I said is true. Not one time did they call for the National Guard until the lawmakers themselves were in harm's way. That's the only thing that was important to them, that they stay safe. But you, me, your kids, my kids, not at all important that we stay safe, you know. And so, as a person who I'm 51 years old, almost 52 years old, I was born in 1969 during a time of great unrest, civil upheaval, when Dr. Martin Luther King was killed, John F. Kennedy was killed, Robert F. Kennedy was killed, Malcolm X was killed, Medgar Evers was killed. You know, I'm a student of history. I'm a student of psychology, of human behavior. You know, I find these things interesting. And there's a lot of stuff that I've noticed across the years that I'm going to be sharing with you guys that can help you to connect the dots as to what's going on here. Because we're all being played. We are all being treated like disposable pawns on a chessboard. And if you feel, you know, that you value yourself more than to be treated like a disposable pawn, then tune in again. Because I'm going to be helping you guys connect the dots. Because what it is, we all have information, you know, but I see the big picture, and everybody has a little bit of information here, a little bit of information there. Share it. I don't mind, you know, because I'm going to be sharing what I know and what I see, you know. So if you guys are interested, tune in again, because we'll be talking more. We're going to be talking about the mainstream media and how 9 corporations own 90% of media here in the United States. You can look that up too. You know, there is no such thing as free press and free journalism in the United States anymore. Most of these folks are paid talking spokesmodels. You know, they're talking heads paid to read a script and feed you information. And a lot of it is questionable. A lot of it is not true. And a lot of it is psychological manipulation designed to manipulate you emotionally, brainwash you, and put a battery in you and tell you who to like, who not to like, who to vote for, who not to vote for, and what's okay and what's not okay. You know, and those are decisions that you need to make up here for yourself, you know. So I'm going to be helping guys do that, you know. And if you're interested, if you have something you want to comment, you agree, you don't agree, hey, like, subscribe, comment, whatever, you know, and just keep tuning in, because I actually have a plan to help with some of these serious problems in the Black community. That's why I'm studying, so that I can open a nonprofit, because I want to give back to my community. So, you know, if you guys find this interesting, then great, you know, like, share, and tune back in, you know. And until next time, good luck. God bless everybody out there. And remember this, it's not the people who are in your life, it's the people who can make a difference in your life that are really important. God bless. Take care.